Hey, what's going on, guys? Toxic Turtle here, and today I'm going to be going over the Layton Lakes Cosmetics. If you guys like and enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into the review. So, I'm going to be showing you guys my customizations and my stuff that I usually do my paints for my binoculars, my rangefinder, my weapons, my tents. So that you guys would know what you want to put on your tens, what you don't want to put on your what you want to put on your weapons or tens or equipment or whatnot. So let's just dive on into it. So first what I'm going to show you is the tents. I'm going to be showing you what spray, what stuff you want to make your tents in. So you would want to use your paints for your tents. So I have the Layton Lakes caramel paint, olive paint, dark olive paint and olive paint, orange, and I don't know what that word is, tweak, whatever. That's what I have on my tents. As you can see, I put them at the part 2 and 3. There's 3 parts to the tent, but I put the paints on part 2 and 3. You can customize it however you want. The next one I do, which is the spray. And the spray that I use, I don't usually use the Layton Lakes sprays because they just didn't match. But there is reed spray, netting, and fern. I don't use these 3 because these don't match the colors. I use the spring reeds when I got for the spring event in April and May. That's what you use, but the paints and the spray is what you use to make your tents. Oh, and your blinds. I use the same thing for my blinds as well. Alright. Now let's get into... Alright, now next is my weapons. Be right back in a minute. Alright, I am back. So, I had to switch over because I wanted to have you go through the different stuff that I use for my waterfowl setup and the gun that I use. So, went over it last time with the Norden 20 SA Candlestein. So, you want to use the weapons for your materials if they have any. So, for the Layton Lakes, they have pinewood and walnut. Those are the only 2 that they have. I wish they would have added more. Unfortunately, they don't. But I don't use these. I use the Yukon Valley birchwood, which I'll go over that cosmetic in the near future. But the camo that I chose on this gun is the Layton Lake Duck Hunter camo. There is maple camo and wood bark camo, but I don't necessarily use these 2. I mean, I do use them, but I use them for my binoculars. I use them for my binoculars and my bow. But I use my Layton Lakes duck hunting camo for my duck hunting shotgun. That's how I usually identify as to which gun I'm going to be using. There is wraps, which I'll go over here in a little bit. But the material that I do use for this gun is metal, which is spring brass. There is hunter power, but there is santan for the guns as well. But I use spring brass because it matches the duck hunting camo so well. So well. I got that also when I got my spring fern. But that's my duck hunting shotgun setup cosmetic. Now, let me show you my small class setup. Alright, this is my small class setup. So, what I use for my small class setup, I use my 22 mag. I'll go where I will be going over that in the near future. You guys already seen my Vasquez Cyclone. I have another 22 Norden SA. No, a 20 SA. And a Steenberg takedown, which I will be going over this bow in the near future as well. But let's go over the 22 mag. So, what I have for my 22 mag is pretty much the same as my other one, only with an added bonus of the Layton Lake caramel paint with the brass. That's what I use for my 22 Nord. Well, now since I said that the paints can be used for 10s. Okay, I lied. The paints can be used for guns as well. My bad. But I use the spring brass as well because it matches so well, so very much well. I use but that was my 22. That wasn't that. I use the Layton Lakes Premium Wrap, which is my second favorite because it reminds me of my home where I grew up in, and most of the hunters out there had woodland camos. I have for the barrel. I have the santan material because it matches so well. I also put the same thing on my .27 Warden. And just in case you guys, wrong one. And here is my bow. I use for the material. I use Yukon Valley birchwood material. I use the spring brass, as you can see, for the parts, and I use the Layton Lakes wood bark for the bow as well for part 3. That's what I use for my bow. Now, let's go over to my primary and take a look at that. Alright, and we reached our primary loadout, the one that I review most times when I'm reviewing a weapon. So, here we have the 22 Warden, the .70 Warden. Why do I keep saying 22? I don't really necessarily have anything for part 3 yet, but I will eventually put this on it. But for right now, I'm leaving it blank. But I used the premium wrap for this one. I also and for the barrel, I have the Santan metal that you get in 100 pack. I also used the same wrap for my Azar 300 Win Mag, which I will review that in a later video, possibly this week, with the dark olive paint scheme for the cloth that's at the middle of the barrel. I might do the same thing what I did for my Azar 22, my 22 mag for my small game in the near future, but I might keep my wrap and my dark olive paint scheme for it. Now this one I use for my deer hunting, which I'll review that in a later video, which is the Frost 257. This is my go-to weapon of choice. I love this gun. And you'll see why in a later video. But I use the Yukon Valley Birchwood and the Spring Brass. I only use wood for this one, for my 3030, which is birchwood, which is my Yukon Valley Birchwood. I did for the longest time put Layton Lake's Pinewood on these things. I just thought that it was it just looks stupid, and I didn't necessarily like of it foreshadow being dark for this gun, so I decided to do the birchwood, which I love. Which, as you can tell, I love the color birchwood. I love birchwood. That's my favorite kind of wood. If there was any gun that had birchwood in it, I would be using it. But that's about it for the loadout. Like I said, you can do pretty much whatever you want to it. But I use... Oh. Well... Okay. I lied. So, for my binoculars, I did use my spring reeds for my rangefinder and my binoculars because it looks so good as one another. So I guess you could say that you should just put the sprays on your equipment and your tents and your ground lines. But like I said, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Make it rainbow, make it M&Ms. It's up to you. But that's the Layton Lakes cosmetics that I went over. Well, I didn't even go over the Layton Lakes cosmetics. I just went over my cosmetics of what I've had in my guns. But most of it was that was my Layton Lakes cosmetic review. If you guys like and enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in a later video. Catch you later. Bye.